All right, two more lessons. This is 11.6. Tomorrow you will have 11.7. Wednesday it's a test, and you'll be done with my math class. Thursday you'll take the atom test and be completely done. Okay, two lessons on circles. This one is on circumference. If you look on page 607, there are some vocabulary words. You will not have vocabulary per se on the test, but you have to know what these words mean or you can't answer the questions. Obviously, you know what a circle is. The mathematical definition of it is a set of all points in a plane. And of course, it doesn't mean airplane, it means a flat surface. You know, we talked about that in class. That are the same distance from a fixed point called the center. Here's the two words that you might not be familiar with. I'm sure you've probably heard them before. The distance from the center to any point on a circle is the radius, and the distance across the circle through the center is the diameter. So if we have a fixed point and we go out so far in any direction, and this so far is the radius, okay, because it's from the center to the edge, then we can form a circle if I went in all of the places that I could go, okay? But the distance across the whole thing, whether it's along the same line that I have the radius, whether it's here, this is called the diameter, okay? So you should see that the diameter is double the radius, and that's going to be important as we go through this, okay? So today we're going to talk about circumference. Circumference is the distance around the circle. This would be like perimeter on polygons, okay? I don't know why they didn't call it perimeter, but it's called circumference. And today you will learn and memorize the formula for circumference of a circle. It is written for you at the top of 608, and you get one more song from me this year. When I was talking to my son about how I would teach, how I always teach circumference of a circle, he was like, "You're going to sing?" And I said, "Of course I'm going to sing." Songs are a great way to keep things in your head. So here's your song for circumference of a circle. The circumference of a circle is 2 pi r, 2 pi r, 2 pi r. The circumference of a circle is 2 pi r, or pi d. Okay, now let's talk about what those things mean. To find the circumference, the distance around a circle, you multiply 2 times pi, and hopefully you know what pi is, but if you don't, 3.14 times the radius, or pi d. Now, why can it be both? Because what is 2 times the radius? It's the diameter, okay? So if in a problem you're given the diameter, you just have to multiply it to pi. But if you're given the radius, you need to double it so that you get to the diameter, okay? Oh, one other thing that is helpful, and I will use it a couple of times in the problems that I'm going to do, and when we get to them, I'll tell you why. But another mathematical answer for pi is 22 sevenths. You can use your calculator for this whole end of chapter 11. And if you do 22 divided by 7 into your calculator, you get 3.14. And I know what follows 3.14 in pi, not into infinity, but it's a little bit different. But you can use 22 sevenths, and I'll show you when it's helpful to do that as we go through this lesson. All right. So you can see an example 1. I'm not going to write it out, but I will walk you through it in the book. So hopefully you're on page 608. They're using pi d to find the circumference because you were given the diameter of that clock. It's 25 centimeters. So into your calculator, you would just type 3.14 times 25, and that would give you the answer, okay? So the only instruction I want to give you at this point is just the reminder to please write down what you are going to type into the calculator, because if you don't, I cannot give you any partial credit if you get even a decimal point wrong, okay? Okay, if you look down at example 2, I am going to use 22/7. The book uses 22/7 there. This is a good example of when it's helpful to use 22/7, though not necessary. All right, example 2 gives us this measurement off of one side from the center. What is that called? That's the radius. Make sure you know those two definitions, radius and diameter. So to find circumference of a circle with radius, we are doing 2 pi r, okay? So I'm going to write my formula, and I'm going to plug in what I know, 2 pi r. The circumference of this circle will be 2, and I'm going to go ahead and make it look like fractions because I'm going to use 22/7 times 21. Okay, now the reason that I'm using this fraction instead of 3.14 is because I can cross reduce. Okay, 7 goes into itself once and into 21 3 times. And then I just have 2 times 22 times 3. I can use a calculator. It's actually not necessary because I can just real quick work out that this is 132. Okay, so that's a reason, an example of when you might want to use 22/7. All right, my recommendation now is to pause the video and then work 1 through 3 at the bottom of 608 and then come back to see if you did them correctly. All right, guided practice number 1, you have a radius, so you would do 2 times pi times r. I'm writing this out as an example of what you should write on your test, or if you're showing me your work because you want to turn your homework in. I need to see that you worked it out. You cannot just copy the answers or even do work on something else. If you want a homework replacement grade, you have 2 more chances. You have to show work. All right, so this is what your work should look like when you type all that into the calculator. You would get 56.52 millimeters. I'm going to ask a question, give a little pause, and then tell you the answer. Why is it not 56.52 millimeters squared? The answer is because it's not the area of the circle. Remember, circumference is like perimeter, so we're just doing a distance around something, okay? For number 2, you should have typed 2 times 100 times 3.14. I did that a little bit backwards, but it doesn't matter. Okay, and that would give you the answer of 628 centimeters. And for number 3, you are given diameter, so you're going to do pi times diameter. You might have realized that you can cross reduce here, and then you would just do 22 times 7 and get 154 inches. All right, I'm going to do example 3 with you on page 609 for 2 reasons. One, more importantly, is that we have not solved for diameter yet, so we'll do that in this one. But secondly, I'm sad because I actually went to Sequoia National Park 2 summers ago and was so excited. I took pictures because I wanted to come back and use the pictures of the huge sequoias to talk when I did the teaching on circumference and area of circles. And here we are, separated. Can't show you my pictures, but we can work this problem. So they are telling us that in the largest living tree, which I think is called General Sherman, and we did get to see it, has a circumference of 1,231 inches, okay? And they want you to figure out what the diameter is at the ground, okay? So we're going to plug in what we know, and they're looking for diameter, so we're going to do pi d, okay? And we know pi is 3.14, so we're solving for d. You should know at this point what to do. You want to divide, and you can see it in example 3. You want to divide 1231 by 3.14 into your calculator, and that would give you the diameter of 392 inches. Okay, that's how you solve for D. Now, look down at guided practice 4. Try to solve it and then come back to see the answer. It says it's just using one limb of the tree, and its circumference is 256, and they want the diameter, so you would just divide 256 by 3.14, and that would give you 81.5 inches. Okay, I'm going to work number 18 because you have to do 17 and 19, and they look a little weird. But before I do that, I want to make a note about number 29. It is because they're telling you to use 22/7 for pi, and the diameter of the unicycle wheel is 7 feet. I am going to request on 29 you do not use a calculator, that you work it out with cross reducing. And there are 2 questions. You got to find the circumference, but then you have to do some multiplication to figure out how many rotations the wheel has to make to travel a certain distance, okay? But right now we're going to look at number 18, and you have 2 circles, one nested inside of the other one on the side here. And my drawing is absolutely horrible. All right, and they only give you the radius of the small circle, okay? It is 4. Okay, so the directions are to find the circumference of both circles. Now, if this is radius, it means that this side of this circle is also radius of 4. So we have a diameter of 8. And that also means, because this is the center, that's what that blue dot means, of the large circle, that 8 is the radius of the large circle and the diameter of the small circle, but 8 is also the radius on this side. So the diameter of the large circle is 16. Okay, sorry, that looks a little messy, but I'm just trying to show you that they've given you all the information that you need. So then for the small circle, you would just do circumference equals, and since we now know the diameter of the small circle, I'm going to do pi times d, which is 8, okay? And then I would find out that that is a circumference, of 25.12. And then for the large circle, 3.14 times 16, which is the diameter of the large circle, and that gives you 50.24. All right, only one lesson for this one because it's just the one scale of circumference. Check back tomorrow for how to find area of circles, and then you'll be ready for your test.